Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again. We're going to be going over the predictions for WWE Backlash 2025. Now, before we get into this video, I'm going to make the intro short. WWE, what are you doing? Alright, what are you doing? I better not see Backlash happen so soon after WrestleMania ever again, because you cannot build feuds like this. You cannot establish feuds like this. I can't get invested in feuds like this because of the build that is happening, okay? And it's not even sequels of WrestleMania matches and WrestleMania feuds and WrestleMania storylines either. This is just completely new feuds that they're building within the 3 weeks that they had. I feel like WrestleMania should be at the beginning of April, and that's that, okay? No end of April, stuff like that. None of that, alright? That's all I wanted to say. Anyways, let's start with the predictions, though. Starting with what I believe will open the show, Pat McAfee versus Gunther, okay? I'm not going to discredit Pat McAfee in any way. We know he could wrestle. We've seen his match versus Adam Cole at NXT TakeOver. We've seen him at WrestleMania 38. He can go in the ring for sure. He's obviously very athletic, which also helps. But he is going against Gunther, who WWE, again, they want to establish him as the big bad guy, the bad heel that every babyface needs to hurdle over to finally become one of the best babyfaces in the business. Example one being Jey Uso, right? Jey Uso became world champion after defeating and tapping out Gunther at WrestleMania, which just, catapulted him to the top of the power rankings because he beat the best heel in the power rankings. So Gunther is one of those guys that WWE is making out us to believe that he should not be taken lightly. He has to be taken seriously. And he's going against, in kayfabe, a commentator, okay? A commentator that isn't even there full time, that's part time. I think this should be a squash match. Again, we know Pat McAfee could put on a show, but I don't want him to put on a show against someone like Gunther. Gunther has to be established as a big, strong, bad guy, out for revenge, looking for revenge, that's bloodthirsty. And the best way to set this up is to have Pat McAfee lose in under 5 minutes. Not even enough for a cage match rating. And I think this opens the show not because it's a squash match, but because of what happens after the show. I think this match sets up something even bigger for Gunther. A bigger feud for the summer for Gunther. And I think that feud, and now I know a lot of people are saying this, but I just can't gloss over this fact. I think that Goldberg does appear at the end of this match after Gunther chokes out Pat McAfee and won't let go. Like he usually does. I could very well see a world where Goldberg comes out, spears Gunther, and sets up that feud for WrestleMania because, again, Goldberg's last WWE match will happen this summer, whether it's at Money in the Bank, whether it's at Night of Champions, whether it's at SummerSlam, we don't know yet, but we know the match is happening soon, and I know Triple H likes long builds like this, so I could very well see, especially because Pat McAfee vs. Gunther is on a pay-per-view show. And realistically speaking, again, this should be a squash match on a random Monday Night Raw. It leads me to believe Goldberg does return at the end and does take out, or maybe even just goes face-to-face with Gunther to set up that Gunther versus Goldberg feud and Goldberg's last match. So that's what I'm thinking. I'd rather see Braun Breaker fight Goldberg for Goldberg's last match. Of course, I don't think that's happening now that Braun Breaker's in the faction with Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman. That being said, Gunther is still a very good opponent for Goldberg, and I think, again, this is where this match is going to end up happening. I think Goldberg comes out, Gunther beats Pat McAfee. That's it, man. That's it. Next up, we got Lyra Valkyria versus Becky Lynch for the Intercontinental Championship. And let me tell you guys, the IC Championship for the woman is finally getting defended on a pay-per-view. It has been so long. Actually, I think this is the first time it's actually been defended when a champion was holding it. Lyra has been killing it on the mic, killing it in the ring. She has been a great champion, right? And she just got called up to the main roster. So she has a lot of potential. She's going to be in this business for a long time for sure. And she's going against Becky Lynch, who's already been in this business for a long time and is now feuding for yet another piece of gold, this time the Women's Intercontinental Championship. This past Monday and the Monday before that, these two's promos was so great, dude. All right, like the chemistry between these two on the mic is so just real. It's so amazing. I wouldn't be surprised if that translates over to in-ring work as well. Expect these two to put on an absolute show for us on Backlash, okay? Because I genuinely believe this will be a great freaking match, okay? But again, this is one of these feuds that was just built after WrestleMania, right? Becky Lynch turned on Lyra after Lyra lost in the tag team championships, and then, you know, before that, Becky took out Bayley and called her trash, and called Lyra recycling. So it was kind of just a last minute build, kind of. I say kind of because, again, Becky did technically return at WrestleMania, which is basically a WrestleMania storyline in and of itself. Point being, I think that Becky Lynch does take the win here. I know people are saying that Bayley might return to help Lyra retain the title, but I think that will happen, just not at Backlash. I just want these two, Becky and Lyra, to go at it one-on-one. And if we want to assert Becky Lynch as a heel, a top heel, a dangerous heel that Lyra has to work to overcome, the best possible way to do that would be if Becky Lynch takes and pins Lyra for the title, albeit with some dirty tactics, I'd assume. And Lyra has to work her way back up to that title, get back what was hers. Again, I've said this before, I think this is going to be a summer-long feud. I don't think this is going to be the last time these two face it off. Potentially, again, see Bayley somewhere down the line with this feud. I don't want Bayley to return for Backlash. I want her injury to be believable. I want her injury to be take her out of action for a few weeks at least. Because if we're asserting Becky Lynch as a top heel, Becky Lynch should be someone who would take out her best friend for multiple weeks. It just all makes sense at the end of the day. So I'm going with Becky here, just due to the fact that Lyra is still kind of inexperienced. Becky will use that to her advantage, and there's no Bayley interference, and then Becky does pin Lyra for the title. Next up, we got the Fatal 4-Way match featuring Jacob Fatu, LA Knight, Damian Priest, and Drew McIntyre. Now, this is a feud that actually has like intertwining feuds from WrestleMania. Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre had that awesome street fight at WrestleMania, and then Jacob Fatu and LA Knight obviously had that fight at WrestleMania 41 as well. And they kind of all just intertwined. Drew McIntyre won the #1 contender match against LA Knight, but that was due to interference, and that kind of just ricocheted all the way just to where we are now with this Fatal 4-Way match. A lot of people say this as well. The US Championship is now the main event scene, basically. It basically is, right? Because John Cena is a part-time champion, so that championship isn't really getting defended much on SmackDown, if at all. Like, I don't know if he's going to do any open challenge at this point. So yeah, basically this US Championship, like this timeline, this time frame for this championship is going to be very, very, like, eyes on, like, locked on whoever the champion, whoever's in this feud. This will be a great way to build new stars as well, such as Jacob Fatu, who is the current champion. And again, this is Jacob Fatu's first title defense, and again, I don't see Jacob Fatu losing anytime soon. Like I keep saying this, Jacob Fatu is not going to lose. He's not going to lose. He's their next 2017 Braun Strowman. He's their next Brock Lesnar. I don't see him losing his first title defense, even if it is a Fatal 4-Way where he doesn't have to get pins. I do see Damian Priest taking the pin from Jacob Fatu, because again, Drew McIntyre and LA Knight are just too valuable to just be taking pins like this. Look, it's going to be a great match for sure, but like, there's just no way that Jacob Fatu loses. Jacob Fatu may lose against and that's a big, big maybe, will lose to Solo Sikoa over the summer. But right now, he's not losing. I could very well see a world where Drew McIntyre for Jacob Fatu's United States Championship first before Solo Sikoa. I could see LA Knight feuding with Drew McIntyre. A lot of ways this can go. What we're focusing on right now is how this match will end. And this match will end with Jacob Fatu still standing as the US champion. Next up, we got the Intercontinental Championship match featuring Dominic Mysterio and Penta. And this is why I wait till the Raw before the event, because look, I was going to put in my original prediction video Logan Paul versus Jey Uso, but obviously that's not happening now. As of right now, that is not happening, and I don't expect that to happen at Backlash. So instead, we're getting Penta versus Dominic Mysterio. This happened after, you know, Penta fought JD McDonough. Eventually, that led to the match with Dom and Penta. I'm going to go with Dom here, and obviously this is another feud that kind of leads from WrestleMania because Penta was in the Fatal 4-Way match for the IC Championship at WrestleMania. Obviously, Dominic Mysterio won it, and now Penta wants to get that championship one-on-one. And I do think that Dominic Mysterio does retain here with the help of the Judgment Day. A lot of people want Finn Balor to turn on the Judgment Day here, but I think that's going to happen soon, like very, very soon, like next pay-per-view soon. But I don't think it's going to be against Penta. Again, this is Dominic Mysterio's first title match. I would assume Finn Balor would want Dominic Mysterio to feel safe, but I do think that eventually this leads to Finn Balor turning on the Judgment Day, turning on Dominic Mysterio especially, maybe even with the help of AJ Styles, because we know that AJ Styles is coming after that IC Championship next. That leads to a IC Championship match between Dominic Mysterio and AJ Styles, where Finn Balor turns on Dominic Mysterio and helps AJ Styles win the championship. I could 100% see that happening, but for now, I don't think Dominic Mysterio is going to lose his championship. I would be fine if he does lose, because obviously, you know, Penta deserves his championship. He's been putting in the work since he got here. He's wrestled almost every week. He's definitely deserving of the Workhorse Championship, but I think it's too soon. I think he is going to win it eventually, but just not at Backlash. Again, this is Dominic Mysterio's first title defense. He got a huge freaking pop. A huge pop at WrestleMania when he won. I don't think WWE would want him to lose that momentum so fast. So I'm going with Dominic Mysterio to retain that championship. And finally, we got John Cena versus Randy Orton for the WWE Undisputed Championship. Now we know this is a feud. This is a rivalry that's been happening for like so freaking long. Okay. It is insane how long this rivalry has been going, and it's still going till this day. The last time these two fought was on 2017 on a SmackDown, albeit it wasn't a clean match. We had a Bray Wyatt interference. This was before Bray Wyatt won the Elimination Chamber, so WWE was setting up Bray Wyatt as like their next champion. So Bray Wyatt was involved in the Randy Orton John Cena match, and John Cena ultimately won that match. But today is a bit different because John Cena is the heel and Randy Orton is the babyface. This never happened in the history of their feud. Literally, this is the first time ever and the last time ever they fight. First time ever heel John Cena and babyface Randy Orton go at it, but the last time John Cena and Randy Orton go at it. So it's going to be interesting. Again, we know, I don't think it's going to be a great match. I don't think it's going to be a show stealer. We know that Randy Orton can still go in the ring. He can still put on a show. He can still carry a match. John Cena, on the other hand, I mean, I get it if his gimmick is to ruin wrestling. He's wrestling mediocre on purpose. But if that's literally him, just like old age, being rusty, like, I don't think the match is going to be as good as people are hyping it up to be. I'm hoping it's a stipulation match. I'm hoping it's like maybe even a no-holds-barred match because I want all of these callbacks to happen. I want John Cena to activate the pyro on Randy Orton like how Randy Orton did to John Cena. I want John Cena to attack one of Randy Orton's family members. I just want these two to go at it with all the nostalgia bursts they can. Okay? Honestly, that's literally all I want. If there's one match I don't want an interference in, it's this one. Okay? I don't want any Travis Scott. I don't want Travis Scott getting physically involved at all, okay? I just want these two to go at it one more time and put an end to this freaking like decades-long rivalry, okay? This rivalry is not a rivalry that can just be ended by a rapper who doesn't even wrestle, helping John Cena. Now, I'm sure John Cena will do some heel moves in the match, but I do not, and I repeat, I do not want Travis Scott to be involved in this match whatsoever. Maybe if his music plays and he stays on the stage to distract Randy Orton, and John Cena maybe hits Randy Orton with a low blow, maybe that'll be fine. But I don't want Travis Scott getting physically involved at all. I don't want him taking out the ref. I don't want him doing any of these shenanigans. I don't. And again, it's going to be a burst of nostalgia. A burst of nostalgia for anyone who experienced this rivalry. And it's going to be a fun match for sure. Again, it's not going to be great, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be good. It's going to be nostalgia ridden. That's all that matters, right? That's all that matters in the end. This is what John Cena's WWE Championship match is all about, right? Fan fiction, booking John Cena against all these amazing guys. And I feel like every John Cena fan fiction on his final run had him going against Randy Orton at some point. So, again, we could also argue Randy Orton is probably John Cena's biggest rival and vice versa. So, it's going to be an interesting match. It's going to be a fun match. The build hasn't really been there, but screw the build. The build's been building freaking decades. We don't need any more build to this rivalry at all. They went at it on the mic a week ago or so, that's a good enough build. Obviously, we still have the Friday night before Backlash to make this build even better. But I'm happy about this match. I'm happy about the build. I'm happy about what we're getting. And yeah, that's basically my predictions for WWE Backlash 2025. If you guys are new, like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.